Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening a file that feels a little bit like a time capsule,
A little bit. Yeah.
a little bit like a funhouse mirror, and honestly a whole lot like a warning sign.
That's a good way to put it. A warning sign.
We are looking at the story of a guy named Jason Strider.
And it is a fascinating case study. I mean, if we were to put a label on it,
Mm.
we're looking at arrested development in like its purest form,
Right.
all set against a very specific, very tangible backdrop.
Exactly. We are diving deep into the world of I just want my pants back.
Else.
And before you ask, yes, for those of you listening who haven't encountered this story, the title is completely literal.
It's not a metaphor.
Not a metaphor at all.
Yeah.
The central conflict, the engine driving this entire deep dive, it isn't a war, it isn't a murder mystery, it isn't even a sweeping romance in the traditional sense.
Nope.
It is a young man in New York City who is spiraling through a quarter-life crisis, and he is obsessing over a pair of stolen Dickies work pants.
Which on the surface just sounds incredibly trivial.
It sounds like a joke.
It does. It sounds like a stoner comedy setup, you know? But as we go through the source material, the articles, the character breakdowns, the plot summaries, what we find is that the pants are really just a MacGuffin.
A MacGuffin.
Right, yeah, in film terms. It's an object that drives the plot forward but isn't actually the point. The pants, they represent control. They represent a return to normalcy for him and a life that is, rapidly spinning out of his control.
Okay, so let's set the scene before we even really get into Jason. We need to ground ourselves in the world he's in.
For sure, the setting is everything here.
We are in New York City, specifically the West Village, Perry Street. But this isn't the New York of today.
Not at all.
No TikTok influencers on every corner, no seamless delivery for your boba tea. This is the 2000s.
It's a transition period. I like to call it the analog sunset.
The analog sunset, I like that.
The sources describe a world that is, shifting from analog to digital, but it hasn't quite tipped over yet. You have people using BlackBerry, sure, but there's this weird social etiquette where they're like checking them on the toilet because it's considered rude to be seen too connected in public.
BlackBerry on the toilet era, that is such a specific vibe, isn't it?
It is. It's the era of early email culture, of indie rock bands that you had to actually go out to a bar to hear.
Right, you couldn't just Spotify them.
No, not at all. And it's also about that very specific anxiety of being highly educated but woefully underemployed.
So let's meet our protagonist, Jason Strider. On paper, this guy sounds like a catch.
Or he should be.
Or at least he has the pedigree. He's a Cornell graduate, an English major. He used to be a DJ in college. He's got the credentials.
He has the cultural capital. That's the key. He knows what books to read, what music to listen to, how to talk the talk.
But the reality of his day-to-day life is quite different. He's working this dead-end job as a receptionist at a casting agency called JB Casting.
And his internal state. It's just absolute chaos.
The notes describe him as being ruled by these two opposing forces. It's almost like a cartoon with the angel and the devil on the shoulders, but way more dysfunctional.
Way more.
On one hand, you have what he calls Lil Petey.
Which is his personified libido.
Right.
The id. The part of him that just wants immediate gratification, regardless of the consequences. Go out, hook up, drink more. That voice.
And on the other hand, he lives in constant dread of what he calls the fear.
The fear. And the source material describes this so perfectly. It's not just a hangover.
No.
It's not just a headache. It's that mild paranoia, that bottomless pit of regret and shame that's fueled by drugs, alcohol, and a total lack of sleep.
Yeah.
It's the feeling that you have monumentally messed up your life, even if you can't remember exactly how you did it.
It's existential dread fueled by dehydration.
Precisely.
Yay.
And that dynamic, the push of Lil Petey, the pull of the fear, that's the engine driving this entire story.
So that's our mission. We are going to explore Jason's chaotic week. We're going to dissect his refusal to grow up, and we're going to look at the jarring reality checks that force him finally to confront his own mortality and his own maturity.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
It all starts with the inciting incident. The moment the snowball starts rolling down the hill.
Right.
It's a Sunday night. Jason is at home. He's bored. He's hungry.
And this is where we see the first little crack in his identity. Yeah. It's a small detail, but it's so telling. He's ordering Chinese food from a place called Hunan Pan.
Okay.
But he doesn't order it as Jason Strider. He uses a fake name.
What's the name?
He calls himself Mr. Snuka, like Jimmy Superfly Snuka, the pro wrestler.
Which is hilarious, but also, why? Why do that?
It highlights his detachment from his own reality. He's so bored with being Jason the receptionist that he can't even be himself when he's ordering mushu chicken. He has to play a character just to feel something.
So common sense is telling him, go to sleep, he has work in the morning.
But Lil Petey, his libido, has a very different plan. He convinces Jason to go out.
The classic just one drink lie we tell ourselves.
Exactly. So he goes to this local bar, the Umbrella Room, to see a band called the Lizzie Band.
And this is where the meet cute happens. Or maybe the meet chaotic is a better term.
I like that.
He meets Jane.
Jane, the object of desire. The source material describes her with pigtails, tortoiseshell glasses, reading the room perfectly. Now, normally you meet someone, you ask, what do? And you tell the truth. Or a version of the truth.
Right.
But Jason decides that the truth, that he's a receptionist who answers phones for a living, that won't cut it. So what does he do? He concocts this insane lie.
It's a breathtaking lie. It's so specific, he tells her he's a downtown orthodontist.
An orthodontist
Yeah.
with all the things. Not a pilot, not a rock star, an orthodontist.
So he commits to the bit. He doesn't just stop there.
He tells her his office was designed by the artist Jeff Koons.
This is where his English major creativity actually backfires on him. He just embellishes way too much. He tells her the dental chairs look like oversized red tongues.
And he says the hygienists wear these plushy costumes that look like molars and plaque.
And the kicker,
He claims Sting came in for a retainer.
it's so absurd. But it works. And I think it speaks to that specific New York culture of the time, and maybe even today, of needing to be someone. You need to have a thing.
A title, a story.
Yeah. And Jason doesn't have a thing he's proud of, so he just invents a surreal one.
And Jane buys it. Or maybe she just doesn't care. They leave the bar, they go back to his apartment on Perry Street.
And he describes his apartment as having a fireplace the size of an easy bake oven.
Which is just such a great, sad detail about New York real estate, isn't it?
It really is. And here we get to the, let's call it the kitchen appliance incident.
Oh boy. We have to talk about this because it really sets the tone for the type of impulsive, chaotic intimacy that Jason seeks out. They are hooking up, things are getting heated, and Jane, who turns out to be surprisingly aggressive herself, demands that he, well, let's just say she wants to utilize the refrigerator door.
It's a moment of pure hedonism. It's not romantic. The sources describe items falling off the shelves inside the fridge.
A jar of Welch's grape jelly is rattling around.
It's all just.
Yeah.
It highlights that this isn't a connection of souls. It's a collision of appetites. It's messy. It's clumsy.
But the morning after is where the trouble really starts. Jane has to leave early for something. It's cold outside. She doesn't want to wear her skirt from the night before.
So she asks to borrow Jason's pants.
And not just any pants.
No. His favorite pants.
Broken-in Dickies with a single paint splotch on the hem. The kind of pants that, take years to get just right. They're soft. They're perfect.
They're part of his identity.
He gives them to her. She promises to get them back to him. She leaves. And then just silence.
The ghosting.
She vanishes. And this kicks off Jason's obsession. He starts sending these emails.
At first, they're kind of breezy, right?
Yeah, the first one is like, hey, it's the orthodontist. Hope your teeth are okay. Something like that.
Very casual, trying to be cool.
But then they get more and more desperate. I just want my pants back. It becomes his mantra.
And what's fascinating here is this chum theory that Jason subscribes to. He explains this to his friends later.
Right, the chum theory.
He believes that to attract romantic prospects, you have to keep blood in the water. You have to show interest, keep the energy moving forward, or the shark loses interest and swims away.
It sounds like game theory for desperate people.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But Jane completely flips the script on him. She was the aggressor. She initiated the fridge encounter. She took the pants.
She was the shark.
She was the shark. And now she holds all the power by simply not engaging. She ignores the chum he's throwing in the water.
And it drives him crazy. He questions everything. Is it about the girl? Or is it really just about the pants?
I think it's about the loss of control. The pants are a symbol of his comfort zone, of his identity as this, cool downtown guy.
Yeah.
Without them, he's exposed. He feels like the loser receptionist, not the cool orthodontist he pretended to be. And the fact that she won't even reply to give them back, it makes him feel invisible.
So while he's completely spiraling over these pants, he still has to go to work.
Yes, reality calls.
And this brings us to the stagnation of his real-world life. We really need to talk about JB casting.
This setting is so crucial. It represents the purgatory that Jason is living in.
He's a receptionist, but he does very little actual work, right?
Almost none. He spends his time reading the New York Times online, checking his emails for a reply from Jane, and just dealing with the absolute soul-crushing absurdity of the casting world.
And the specific casting sessions mentioned in the source material are just, they're gold.
They are.
There's one for a product called Skinflint.
Right. And for this, they're casting little people to dance in fruit costumes.
A banana, a strawberry, a lime.
And the casting specs are just brutally specific. The memo actually says, disfigured limbs are non-starters.
Can you imagine being Jason? You have a Cornell degree, you studied literature, and now you are videotaping a person in a lime costume, and you have to ask them to dance.
He literally asks one guy, how does a piece of fruit dance? And the guy is just like, I don't know, man.
It's so bleak.
It creates this totally surreal atmosphere where Jason is participating in the commodification of people, but he's completely detached from it. He's just watching the clock, dissociating.
Then there's the Charmin commercial.
Toddlers.
And worse, the stage moms.
Oh, the stage moms. The worst.
Source material talks about how they flirt with Jason, trying to get their kids an edge.
And the kids have these names.
Kids name things like Chinna and D'Artagnan.
Of course.
Yeah.
It highlights the desperation of the city, doesn't it? Everyone is hustling. Everyone wants to be a star, even the toddlers.
And Jason is just sitting there, the gatekeeper to absolutely nowhere. He sees through all the artifice, but he's also completely trapped in it.
Yeah, he's a part of the machine he despises.
But there is a contrast here. We have to talk about Melinda.
Melinda is so important. She's his co-worker. She's the counter-argument to Jason's cynicism.
She's a lesbian aspiring playwright. And unlike Jason, she actually cares about her art. She's doing something.
Right. She invites him to a reading of her play.
And the premise of the play sounds kind of terrible, right? It's about a composer with Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
Jason goes fully expecting to mock it.
He's ready to be cynical.
But he's moved by it. It's
Yeah.
actually good. He sees that she has passion, she has a goal, she's doing the work.
Melinda represents potential being actualized. She shows that you can work a dead-end job but still be moving forward on your own terms.
Jason, on the other hand, is just completely stagnant. He compares his own generation to his parents' generation, which he calls the pick and stick generation.
Pick and stick. It's such a sticky phrase, no pun intended.
Yeah.
His dad owns a hardware store. His mom is a secretary. They picked a path and they stuck to it. They built a whole life on consistency and stability.
And Jason looks at his peers in New York who are constantly competing for status, better jobs, better apartments, those impossible brunch reservations.
Right.
And he's just paralyzed. He hasn't picked, so he can't stick.
He's just floating. He thinks he's somehow better than the pick and stick life, but he has absolutely nothing to replace it with. He's in this weird limbo.
He does make one half-hearted attempt, though,
Yeah.
to, do something.
Oh, right. The music reviewer phase.
On a whim, he decides, I should be a music reviewer. He emails a contact he has, a guy named Scott Langford at Fader magazine.
And this is such a pivotal moment of failure for him. Scott actually replies.
The door opens a crack.
Exactly. The universe says yes. Scott says, sure, send me some clips. Send me some samples of your writing.
And Jason realizes he has nothing.
Zero.
He has no clips. He has no unpublished reviews he wrote for fun. He has nothing but the idea that he could be a writer.
That is the trap of potential, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jason thinks of himself as this smart, creative person, but he doesn't actually do the creative work. He's lazy.
And that realization hits him harder than the rejection would have. It's not that he's not good enough. It's that he hasn't even tried.
He failed before he even started.
So work is a bust. His love life is a missing pair of pants. But the world won't let him stay a child forever. Enter Stacy and Eric.
The responsible couple.
These are his friends from college, but they've evolved.
They've moved on. Stacy's in law school. Eric is in med school.
Eric is dealing with draining fluids from actual patients. Real, visceral, adult stuff. They are moving forward on the tracks of life.
While Jason's train is just sitting at the station with no engineer.
Right. And they meet him for brunch and ask him for this huge favor. Because he was the one who introduced them back in college.
In a geology class, of all places.
In geology, yeah. They want him to officiate their wedding.
They want Jason Strider, the guy who orders takeout under the name Jimmy Superfly's Snuka, to be a minister.
It sounds like a really bad idea.
It is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But they see him through this lens of nostalgia. They just see Jason, our funny friend from freshman year. They don't see the spiraling mess he is right now.
So Jason, of course, says yes. And now he has to become a universal life minister. He has to get ordained online.
And the anxiety kicks in immediately. I mean, we're talking 300 guests.
Grandparents flying in from Germany who probably won't appreciate his slacker irony. The pressure is immense.
But he agreed to it.
Yeah.
And this leads to one of the funniest and, weirdly, most philosophical sections of the story, the rabbi class.
Yes. Stacy and Eric, being the responsible friends they are, pay for him to take a class at Temple Beth El with Rabbi Stan.
Rabbi Stan is a fantastic character. The sources say he wears a sweater vest. He's a bit new age. He's trying to teach this motley crew of amateur wedding officiants about the nature of love.
He breaks it down into 4 pillars.
Responsibility, sacrifice, compromise, and passion.
These are heavy concepts for Jason.
Extremely. Rabbi Stan says love isn't just liking something. You like a pair of sandals. You like a song. Love is about sacrifice. It's about cleaning a baby's behind. It's about doing things you don't want to do because the other person needs you to. It's an action, not just a feeling.
And Jason just struggles to relate any of this to his own life. He's sitting there doodling in his notebook. He's thinking about the movie The Graduate.
He's completely checked out.
And then he has this moment of panic where he realizes he doesn't even own a suit that fits. He is physically and emotionally ill-equipped for this role.
And yet, even in this holy setting, Lil Petey makes an appearance.
Oh, of course.
He meets a classmate, Jennifer.
The orthodox med student with a rebellious side.
And he immediately considers hitting on her. He's in a temple, learning how to marry his best friends, listening to a lecture on sacrifice, and he's checking out the girl next to him.
It just highlights his inability to take anything seriously.
It's a defense mechanism, I think.
Yeah.
If he takes it seriously, he has to acknowledge he's an adult with real responsibilities. But if he treats it like a joke or a pickup opportunity, he can stay in his suspended adolescence. He uses lust as a shield against maturity.
Speaking of suspended adolescence, let's talk about how Jason copes with all this, the nightlife loop.
It's a cycle, a circadian rhythm of dysfunction.
Work, get high, drink, seek sex, rinse and repeat.
And his partner in crime for all of this is Tina.
Tina, his best friend from college, she works in internet ads. She's cynical. She's wild.
She is the ultimate enabler. They function as each other's wingmen. They drink at these dive bars like 7B and the Old Devil. They basically just validate each other's bad behavior. If Tina's doing it, Jason feels okay doing it.
There's a scene at a bar that really shows their dynamic perfectly. Jason gets into this confrontation with a guy he describes as a Jeff Foxworthy lookalike.
Right. And Jason, in a rare moment of chivalry, tries to defend 2 girls the guy is harassing.
He's about to get into a fight he will definitely lose.
Oh, for sure. He's clenching his keys in his fist, trying to summon some rage he doesn't have.
And then Tina just swoops in. She doesn't throw a punch. She starts screaming at the top of her lungs at the guy, accusing him of peeing on the toilet seat.
It's brilliant, really. It's verbal warfare.
It totally humiliates the guy. The whole crowd turns on him. Jason is saved.
But it shows that Tina is the alpha in this relationship. She protects him, but she also keeps him trapped in this chaotic world. She fights his battles for him because he can't.
And in this world, connections are incredibly fleeting. We have to talk about the French girl, Isabelle.
This is a perfect example of Jason's transient happiness. He meets Isabelle, who's a tourist, while he's out with Tina.
The interaction is purely physical and situational. There's a huge language barrier. They can barely talk to each other.
Which leads to the infamous USA chanting during sex.
Which is, well, it's certainly a choice.
It's patriotic, I suppose. But the deeper meaning there is that it's all performative. It's a joke. Even in the act of intimacy, he's being ironic. He can't be sincere.
And of course, she leaves the next day. It's a high peak, followed by an immediate return to baseline boredom. He walks her to the subway, she's gone, and he's just back to work, back to the grind, back to checking his email for news about his pants. It doesn't fill the void at all.
He's trying to fill a spiritual hole with physical sensations, and it never works for long. It's like eating junk food when you're starving.
So he's striking out with Jane. He's had this meaningless fling with Isabelle. He's terrified of the wedding. But there is one relationship in this story that actually has some depth.
Yes.
And surprisingly, it's not with a 20-something hipster. It's with his neighbor across the hall.
Patty.
I love Patty. She is 50-something, bohemian, wears sandals year-round, even in the New York snow.
And she has this hacking cough that Jason describes as sounding like mattresses in a hurricane.
That description is so visceral, you can just hear it.
You can, and Patty is essentially the ghost of Christmas future for Jason.
That's a great way to put it.
She is a window into a bygone New York. I mean, her credentials are legit. She knew Joey Ramone. She bartended at CBGB's.
She made custom leather pants for rock stars.
She ran a dog-walking monopoly in the village. She was the ultimate cool girl.
Exactly. She lived the life Jason is sort of trying to live now. She didn't settle down. She didn't pick and stick. She stayed at the party.
And she's still living in a rent-stabilized apartment, smoking pot, drinking. The party never really ended for her.
But there's a shadow over her. They start bonding. Jason slips a joint under her door.
The universal peace offering.
And she cooks him stir-fry. They hang out. And she starts dropping some serious wisdom on him.
She talks about time. This is a key moment. Jason complains that his week flew by. He's stressed about how fast it went. And Patty just looks at him and says, when you get to be my age, the years fly by.
Oof.
And then she says the line, the game is for keeps.
That line is the thesis statement of the darker side of this story, isn't it? The game is for keeps.
It totally cuts through all of Jason's irony. She's telling him that this isn't a rehearsal. You don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
You wake up one day and you're 50, and all those choices you made or didn't make have calcified into your life.
There's also this little subplot with the other neighbors that shows Patty's toughness.
Right, with Robert the crack dealer.
Yeah, and a junkie named Walter who tries to get into the building. Jason is trying to be polite, trying to get the guy to leave, and he's clearly terrified.
And Patty just walks in, sees the junkie, and essentially barks him out of the building. She has a street-level toughness that Jason completely lacks. She knows the streets in a way he only pretends to. She's lived the consequences of this lifestyle.
This all leads to the climax of the story. Section 6, the descent and the revelation.
It starts as a bonding night out. Jason and Patty go to the White Horse Tavern.
A legendary spot. Dylan Thomas drank himself to death there, which is some ominous foreshadowing.
Very ominous. And they do shots. A lot of shots.
It's like a sampler platter of bad decisions. Jack, Bushmills, Southern Comfort, tequila.
A terrible mix. Then she takes him to an after-hours club. An illegal speakeasy in an apartment on 6th Avenue. It's 4 in the morning.
And the place is filled with, like, hospital workers and flower district delivery guys.
It's the secret underbelly of the city that Jason never knew existed. And they smoke pot. They talk about the movie Arthur. And Patty admits that when she's high, she sometimes feels the same age as Jason. She forgets she's older.
It's a beautiful, melancholy moment.
It is. The drugs and the alcohol erase the generation gap. For a moment, they're just two kids lost in the city.
Yeah.
But biology always wins. The sun comes up.
The enemy of the vampire and the party boy.
Yeah, right. They get in the cab, and Jason is wrecked. He is on the verge of vomiting. The room is spinning. The whole world is tilting.
They get back to 99 Perry. Jason is physically ill. He's retching on the curb. It's the absolute epitome of self-inflicted misery.
He looks at Patty, who seems totally fine, and he asks her how she knew he wouldn't actually vomit. He thinks she has some mystical bartender wisdom about pacing yourself or something.
And then she drops the bomb.
She just says it. Lung cancer.
2 words. It just stops the show. He thinks she's joking at first.
But she isn't. She confirms it with this stone-cold expression. It's real.
And that is the ending image. You have Jason, sick from a hangover, a temporary self-inflicted state because he wanted to have fun.
And you have Patty, standing right next to him, facing a fatal, permanent reality that she absolutely cannot escape.
It puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? The pants, the emails, the awkward casting sessions, it all just seems so small, so trivial next to that 2-word diagnosis.
It forces the listener, and it forces Jason, to confront the illusion of infinite time. Jason wastes time because he thinks he has forever. Patty is the living proof that he doesn't. That cough wasn't just a character quirk, it was a clock counting down.
So what does this all mean? We've walked through this week from hell with him. We've seen the highs and the lows.
I think this story is a critique of the Peter Pan syndrome, but it's a compassionate one. It acknowledges that the transition to adulthood is genuinely terrifying.
Right, it's not judging him, it's observing him.
Exactly. Jason seeks connection through sex, through nostalgia, through music. But his most genuine human moment in the entire story is with this older neighbor he previously ignored.
Because she's real. She's not putting on a performance. She's not trying to impress him. She's not ghosting him for power. She's just there. And she's facing the end.
It completely reframes his crisis. He's worried about his pants. She's worried about her life.
It's a heavy note to end a week of partying on, but a necessary one.
It is. It's about agency, I think. The title, I Just Want My Pants Back, is so passive. He wants something returned to him. He wants the world to give him back his comfort, his status quo.
But adulthood is about making your own pants. Or, just buying new pants.
It's about taking action. It's about realizing that Lil Petey and the fear are terrible drivers. You have to take the wheel. You have to write the review. Even if you have no clips, you have to officiate the wedding with sincerity.
Because if you don't,
you risk ending up like Patty. Cool, full of amazing stories, but ultimately alone and out of time. Or worse, you end up as the guy in the fruit costume, wondering how you got there.
So here's the final provocative thought for you to mull over. We look at Jason Strider. Messy, anxious, hedonistic. Is his lifestyle a necessary phase of self-discovery? Is this just what you do in your 20s in a city like New York? Or, as Patty suggests, is he risking waking up one day to find the years have just vanished and he has nothing to show for it but a collection of funny anecdotes and a story about a stolen pair of pants?
It's a question of agency, right? Are you living your life, or is it just happening to you while you wait for your pants to come back?
Deep stuff. Maybe buy a belt just in case. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.